Guys, meet Will. Will is a graphic designer, very good friend of mine. I've known Will for a long time. He's helped me do. Sorry, I'm just adjusting this. Too much. Will is a graphic designer. He's a very good friend of mine. He's been doing stuff for me for years, like going back to like old car stuff, doing logos for me. Did a big rebranding for me at one point, and I still use him for a lot of stuff today. So he was here in the office. We had a little meeting earlier today, and so I figured I'd have him jump in here and give you guys 3 tips for some, like, you know, graphic design, branding, stuff like that. So Will, what do you got for these guys? Three of your best tips.
Number 1, I would say, is choosing something unique for your brand. And this goes from naming to logos. I feel like a lot of times when people come to me, they're like, I need a logo. And I'm like, well, what is your name? Like, what is your brand about?
Right.
Like, a lot of times people jump right into it. They're looking for a logo, which is a smaller part of the big picture.
Right.
So I think number 1 is finding a unique name, something that is different from all the people in your market, whether your market is nationwide or you're on a local scale. So
I'm one. So we'll make this more of a conversation. I'm one on a brand name standpoint that is a firm believer in who are you, what do you do?
yes.
Right? Do you feel the same way?
Yes.
When you're just getting started, especially this day and age, and you're a small business or you're a local business or whatever, like, you really want your company name to be who are you, what do you do?
Absolutely.
Or even where are you located if you're a local service business, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like when I went from guys, so I bring this up because my original company name was Beav Tech. And I did cars. So I was doing custom car stuff. And then in 2008, economy crashes and like no one's doing custom car stuff anymore, especially in the area we were in. And so I had to kind of go through this major rebranding that Will helped me out with. And I decided to change the business name to Bluffton Automotive. It's like, where are you located? What do you do? Like, no, Beav Tech could have been anything. It could have been like refrigerator repair, like whatever, you know, like. So anyways, that's why I'm super gangster now about like, who are you, what do you do, or where are you located, what do you do, like any of the kind of stuff, because people will overthink that and try to get real romantic about a company name when a lot of it, either sometimes it just doesn't matter or it really matters.
Absolutely.
So anyways.
I mean, you only have a few seconds of somebody's attention span when they see your ad or your Facebook post, so you really want them to know immediately
right
who you are.
You don't want to play guessing games. So logo, they want to make a logo and you're like, what's your company name?
Yeah.
What are you trying to capture here?
And I think the next step is simplicity. A lot of times people, they talk to me about doing a logo. They're like, well, I want a sunset and palm trees and, you know, all these different things.
Incorporate 9 elements into this little tiny thing.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people get romanticized in their own brand. They feel all these different things about it and they want to pack them all into this thing. But at the same time, like, you're putting this on social media and it's going to be this big.
Right.
You want something that's
legible
readable.
From a distance, small, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I think it's
less is more.
Yeah, absolutely. You think about Nike, like you said, it's
swoosh.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's super important and something that goes even into ads. Like, I get a lot of times people that want an ad that has paragraphs and paragraphs of information, and I'm like, you got those 7 to 15 seconds of somebody looking at your ad. What do you want them to see? What do you
How are you going to capture their attention and keep it? That's a big one for sure.
Number 3, I think it's really important, like in this day and age to me, is to like establish a look and feel and kind of stick with it. Like, in the age of all the Instagram filters and all these different things, I feel like people get a little trigger happy,
right,
and start going all over the place.
Keep it consistent.
Yeah.
And that goes to what I was going to mention about the logos and things like that, of like, if your logo is a font or something, or if you're just going to use text as your logo, like such as Google does, where it's just Google written out, but they have their font.
Yeah.
Coca-Cola, like, that's the font. Like, they don't vary from that. Like, over time, there's iterations of things, and it might morph along the way into things, but it's always something that's very consistent. So when you see it, it's identifiable, it's recognizable. You know that is Google, or that is Nike, or that's tactical baby gear. Like, we've got a font that we use for everything, and all that kind of stuff. And I think that that's very important, especially when it goes to from the logo to advertising to Instagram to Facebook ads, all that kind of stuff. Like, keeping things consistent, as you said. But I also think that with that consistency, I almost think of it like an 80-20 rule, where there's I think you should be consistent with 80% of it and playing around with 20% of it to see if there's something that works a little better.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Always experimentation and room for your brand to evolve.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Along with what I was saying about fonts, I remember recently you said something about people using far too many fonts. Pick how many fonts. How many fonts do you think are good for a brand to be using, especially in one piece of content?
I say 3 max, unless you're going for a poster art look or something that
Right.
you're trying to really be artsy with it.
Yeah. So when brands or companies decide to pick a font, or oh, this is close enough, that you ended up with 8 different fonts that you're using all the time, but you're still using them all the time, so they're your fonts, but it's just too much, especially when you got 5 different fonts on one graphic. You got a font for your logo, and then a font for this text, and then this says 15% off in another font, and then this says shop here in another font, and there's way too many different things going on. It goes back to what he was saying with being consistent. Less is more.
Yeah.
And no more than 3.
Yeah, I always start with a design and then say, what can I take away from this, and it still
Makes sense.
Get the point across and make sense.
Right.
Because people are dealing with a lot of input these days, from social to TV, everywhere. You're dealing with so much coming at you. You want that simplicity.
I think, honestly, I do a lot of meme style stuff with an image with text above it and below it. You guys know what a meme is, but it's 5 words max,
Yeah.
and it's it gets the point across to where do I need this text here to help tell the story? Does this text make you stop scrolling for that half a second because you want to read it, and you know that it's only 5 words, it'll take you half a second to read it, but then that triggers a thought, then you're reading the caption, then maybe you're clicking a button. Those are all things that I take into consideration. Meme style stuff works awesome, for grabbing that initial attention. So anyways, guys, you heard it from the man himself, Mr. Will Dixon. Go follow him on YouTube. He's got a YouTube channel where he talks a lot about the graphic design processes. He's, show you how to make logos and things to think about and stuff like that. So if you are in a branding stage, or you want to do some rebranding, or you're just starting out, don't know what to do, go give him a follow. I'll put a link up here or in the description below to get to Will's channel. Thanks, dude.
Yeah.